I heard like a lot of people talking kind of around me recently about like age, and by the time you get to 30 you have to start acting up, and if the music thing doesn't work out, then you got to get a real job. And I think it's a weird way to think about stuff. If anyone who really loves music, by the time they're 30 they're still going to be playing, and by the time they're 50 or 60 or 70 they're still playing, and it doesn't matter if they're making money off it. But I don't think it should be seen as an option against another job.
The boss, and if the schedule's not right, how do I know if I've just missed the bus? Sigh, sweet hearing smattering. Things about midlife. Something about an expiry date at 10 and 5. Different gauges of what makes this worth it all. Mediocre parts notwithstanding, I'll stand out in the shower full. 'Cause I've started to exercise my demons. Now they're super fit after treadmilling it. And there's no way I can outrun it. No way I can put a sell-by date on this shit.
Robocobra Quartet came about, we were all kind of studying at the Sonic Arts Research Center in Queens. I had written like a score for the four of us that was going to be used for like a class of mine, and so we recorded that just as a document, and then I guess from there it kind of went on to becoming more of a live thing, I suppose. Yeah. One of the first shows we played, it was great. We kind of showed up, and one of the other bands was like, do you want to use our amplifiers, like our Marshall half stacks? Do you guys want to borrow it? We're like, oh no, we don't have guitars. And then they were like, you don't have guitars? And it was like this big thing, and he was like, what are you guys like Coldplay or something? Which is funny because Coldplay have guitars.
Yeah. I think it would be easy to take onus for the improvisation thing because me and Jimmy are from a jazz background, but actually during uni we were looking at this kind of John Zorn, Robocobra thing, tying that in with this Max Patch. It dictated things, and actually we had no control of what we're going to play. That being our first piece, as it were, actually kind of set the standard for being open to anything. And even though we do have songs now that are structured in some sense, we're pretty free with it. It means if you make a mistake, it doesn't matter.
I think it's like way more fun as well to have like lots of improv because things don't get like so boring so quickly. Whereas I think like if you're playing the exact same song in the exact same way lyrically, they stop being words that make sense and they just become sounds that are like repeated.
Yeah.
And like and it kind of just becomes nothing. And then like even our tunes, like after like a couple months, I'm like, this is boring, let's do something else. So like that improv thing helps for sure.
It means that the crowd doesn't get bored either because we have quite a few people who would come back regularly to see us and they haven't stopped coming, so must be a good sign.
Oh, I think like if people talk about like, people say like, oh, you know, people don't go to gigs anymore. I think everything's like ebbs and flows, you know. I think thinking about like an audience never helps, you know.
Yeah, we don't really try and stay relevant per se. I don't think this is gonna sound really egotistical, but I don't think many people have heard what we're doing. It's pretty out there. It baffled me at one point.
I think it's quite in there actually.
It still baffles me.
Yeah, we try and make it exciting, not just for ourselves but for the crowd as well. So sometimes people come and see us, sometimes they don't.
I don't care for the crowd. Yeah, I really genuinely believe that. I think like if you're thinking about like the people who are listening to music, it starts to affect you and like, often in a negative way. I think not from like a nervous point of view, but just from writing and stuff, you know. Because as soon as you think like, oh, these people would love this, you never know, you know. We just recorded like another kind of 2-song single. We've been doing like a lot of these little 2-song releases just so it's like quick and fast. One that takes a lot of improvisation and borrows like themes from other music, and one that's kind of a straight up original kind of thing.
Kind of like an A-side, B-side thing, except we're too poor to actually put it on vinyl, so it just gets released on.
Just digitally, yeah. And then I'm writing an EP right now that like 3 or 4 songs that probably might end up physical, but I don't know. And then tours, like I'm thinking maybe tour UK in.
It's all in Chris's head. We find out a couple of weeks before. It's probably for the best, actually.
Is this date free? Good.
Check! That's about as loud! Check!
There's something to be said for people who kind of completely reject a lot of things, you know, like the idea of like punk rock or whatever. It's the idea of like, some people think it's the idea of just complete rejection, but I think that's true. I think it's just like considering stuff, you know, so it's kind of about that, like, don't submit to tradition and don't completely exit out, but like take a minute to consider everything you do, you know, whether it be like the way you interact with people or like the things you buy, you know. We all kind of have like a lot of power.
I'm staying on the fence when I'm straddling. Conventional women after this. Convincing a southern alternative. Convincing a southern alternative. Conventional wisdom after Nizel. Convention is not to be toyed with. Convincing a southern alternative. Conventional wisdom after Nizel. How we submit to tradition without giving independence an honorable mention? And I should mention that Human nature is a bullshit conception. We have a long-standing tradition of genocidal intentions. Riddle me this! Sex in at 18, legal human being. 25 to life, murdered man, subbing wife. Slaughterhouse, dead cows, break to neck, fork to mouth. Swing a guillotine, a natural thing. Oh, but don't fuck those small little things! As they like, but the levers sound alright. 2 rooms away, flinching under duvet. You tested my strength with curtain rail held across the breadth of my chest. Leisure plays terror, lion plays tamer, armed with furniture. Liars from here, your voice will reveal the same booming I hear. 2 rooms away, flinching under duvet. And I've seen folks left high and dry, scrambling to find peace of mind. Still they're running. You're running a Brandon man! You're running a Brandon man looking for moments and waiting for nothing within. You find nothing
Tell us about your bass
What's
effect.
your setup?
So what's the most important pedal on your board?
Probably my Foxrock's Octron. It's like an analog octaver, like splits your signal 1 octave below what you're playing and 1 octave above, and it just sounds really fab.
And then Chris has got a sweet ride as well.
Oh, what are you driving?
His little BMX.
This is a Robocobra Corvette.
Jamie's more of a traditional player. He's coming out of his shell. It's nice. I just blow a lot and see what happens. And that's a wrap.